This is WDET, FM 101.9, Detroit Public Radio. You're listening to Detroit Today. I'm Craig Foley. Thanks for being with us. And our guest right now is Congressman Sander Levin, who, of course, represents Michigan's 12th District in Congress. Congressman Levin, welcome back to the program.
Glad to be with you.
The reason for your call today, you are working on a plan right now and helping with a plan to extend unemployment benefits for not just workers in the state of Michigan, but really nationwide. Tell me why, first of all, you feel that this program needs to be expanded.
Because a higher number of people, a higher percentage of people, have exhausted their benefits than was true in the 2001 recession. A million, I'm just trying to think of the exact figure, it's about 1,300,000 to 1,400,000 people exhausted their benefits the last 6 months of last year, and it's estimated that the same number, or perhaps even more, will exhaust their benefits the first 6 months of this year. So we're talking about 1,400,000, more or less, million people who are facing this or have already faced this year exhaustion of their benefits. And we have to do something.
Well, this is the kind of thing, somebody loses a job, unemployment benefits, and they're really not that significant to begin with, but it can be the difference between somebody, losing a home and not losing a home.
No, absolutely. In Michigan, the unemployment benefit level is relatively high, higher than in many states. It's not enough. It can't replace the work payment, and most everyone who loses their job is looking for work. They have to do that to receive these benefits. But you're right. It's no gravy train, but it's something to bide people over when they lose their job, and it's essential, if they've exhausted their benefits after 26 weeks, that there be a replenishment. People work for their benefits. It's not a gift. And they work to be covered by unemployment compensation. And in past recessions, we have extended the benefit. In this recession, the president has said no, and he's wrong. We need to do this, and we're going to try once again.
Well, tell me how much further these benefits would go under the plan that you're working on right now.
Well, it depends. For sure, 13 more weeks, and perhaps in states like Michigan with higher rates of unemployment, 26 weeks.
So we're talking about 6 months almost, 6 months of benefits.
In high unemployment states like Michigan. We're not sure what the final form would be because it has to have in the end enough votes to pass the Senate. That takes 60 votes as well as the votes in the House. And then the president has to sign it, and if he refuses to do so, there would have to be, of course, 2/3 to override him.
Well, what kind of money are we talking about if this were to happen? And I know it's difficult to pinpoint an exact number because job numbers, people getting work, coming off benefits, it's all sort of liquid. But tell me a little bit about what kind of money.
You mean in terms of the monthly benefit?
The expenditure to the federal government to do something like this.
Well, the preliminary estimate would be that there would be a cost of about $12 billion, but the benefits would be paid out of the Federal Unemployment Trust Fund, and it now has over $35 billion in reserves. So it's only because we have a unified budget that it would be said that there's a cost to the federal treasury. There's 3 times what it would cost, at least the estimate is. There's 3 times in reserves in the Federal Unemployment Trust Fund. The money's essentially already there, and it's there to pay unemployment benefits. It's another reason why it's inexcusable for there to be a failure to extend benefits. I called the Electrical Workers Hall, I think it was last week, and said, how many people are, as we say, on the bench? That means out of work, looking for work. About 1,300. And the number would be even higher if you counted people who've had to leave the state looking for jobs. We've received, after this first came to light, and we took up this issue in the Ways and Means Committee, we received letters from people, just heartbreaking, people who have exhausted their benefits or were facing this, and just the pressure on families. You mentioned homes, the danger of losing homes, the problem of making sure there's adequate food and clothing. No, there's no excuse not to do this. And when they say it's a disincentive, I think whoever says it's a disincentive looking for work, they should go and talk to people like those who have written to me. They're looking. They've sent out, in many cases, hundreds of letters, applications for work, and in many cases they haven't found it.
Well, who is suggesting it's a disincentive for people to find a job? Because most folks that I know that are out of work are actively looking for another one and would take one in a heartbeat if they were out there.
Well, if you listen to debate on the floor, you would have heard the word disincentive. Some of my colleagues are arguing that, and there are some so-called think tanks that say that. But essentially, it's kind of an automatic reflex. It's just wrong. It isn't thoughtful. It isn't true.
So has the president chimed in on this at all, officially?
Well, he did. When we first brought up a package, the stimulus package, some months ago, he said he would not sign the bill if it included extension of unemployment comp benefits.
And what was his rationale for that you can recall?
Well, the rationale was that unemployment is today nationally 5% or so, and we have not extended benefits when that was true. But what the president did not say was that there's, compared to, for example, I mentioned 2001, a dramatically higher number of people who have exhausted their benefits. So while it's true nationally, the unemployment level is around 6%, the level of exhaustion is high. And as I mentioned, you're talking about 1.3 million people in this country who exhausted their benefits the last 6 months, and another 1.3 million or another 1.4 million who are expected to exhaust the first 6 months of this year. That's a lot of people with, in most cases, families, children. And so that argument is ill-founded.
It seems to me, and maybe I'm wrong about this, I don't know if you'll agree or not, but by using these sort of benchmarks, these percentage levels of saying, well, our unemployment is only at 5% right now, so therefore that doesn't trigger any sort of an increase, is it time to sort of abandon that principle of using a percentage of people out of work or a percentage of mortgages in foreclosure to determine whether or not we're in a recession? It seems pretty obvious to folks here in this state that the economy is in recession already, and this sort of, regardless of what the Dow is doing, regardless of any of these job numbers, people are hurting around the country right now.
Oh, for sure.
Is it time for a different type of analysis to determine where the economy is?
Absolutely. We've been trying to overhaul the extended benefit program for years, and we simply haven't had the votes. And there's been resistance from the White House. We've been trying for years. I've been sitting on Ways and Means and on the committee at times that has jurisdiction, the subcommittee. The full committee always has jurisdiction. And we just don't have the votes here in the Congress. And if we had the votes, the president has said essentially no. So you're right. We ought to overhaul the entire system.